Hey guys, it's Brianna, one of the vocal teachers here at the Music Resource Center. Today I was just going to go over some techniques and coping skills that I have when it comes to singing anxiety, stage fright, just kind of coping with anxiety in general when it comes to performance, and even just getting yourself in that practice room. And if you see me looking over to the side, it's because my notes are over here. I don't have these all memorized. Okay, let's see. One thing that's a little bit unusual that I actually learned from some counseling. So those of you who don't know, I suffer from anxiety and depression. And one thing that counselors suggest to do is to change your temperature. One way to do this is maybe putting an ice cube in your hand. I often will turn a faucet on to the coldest you can get it and splash that on my face, or even kind of put it on the back of my neck. And that really helps, and that's scientifically proven to kind of help change your mood and your brain. Another thing is prepping before the performance. So that means knowing your material. Another thing I like to do is practicing in front of a mirror. Because that kind of helps you see like your posture and like, oh, maybe I'm standing in a weird way. It helps see if you're singing correctly. I actually had this little tick where my eyebrows would move a lot when I was singing and it just wouldn't look natural. And so that helps you kind of nip those things in the bud, little ticks that you have that you think look weird. Another way of doing that is recording yourself, which not only helps with your body positioning, but it also helps with kind of hearing your voice and figuring out your trouble spots, figuring out where you're breathing weirdly. Let's see what else I have here. So kind of when you are worried about whether it be auditioning or performing, sometimes it's good to kind of take your mind off of it and come back to it. Some things I like to do is maybe say a prayer before I go on stage or before I go into the audition. For those of you who aren't religious or spiritual, maybe do a little meditation. Another thing that personally really helps me with my anxiety is ASMR. It's a little bit out there. It's based on audio and visual triggers that actually cause a little like tingly sensation in your neck and head area, which causes like then a relaxation sensation after that. Now, not everyone gets what they call tingles. The only thing that I can really think of to compare tingles to is when you hear a really good singer or really awesome song, you'll get like goosebumps or chills. It's kind of a similar sensation to that, and it really helps to kind of soothe. Let's see here. Okay, so when it comes to performing itself and you're physically on the stage, one thing that I recommend not to do is to make eye contact with the audience members. Sometimes if it's someone you know, that can cause anxiety, or even someone you don't know. Just like staring down that person and maybe seeing their expression, maybe it's not going too hot and you can see that on their face. I highly recommend to choose a spot in the back. This was actually a technique that I was taught in one of my acting classes at university, is pick a spot in the back of the room, and that is your key focal spot. Just look at that spot. When it comes to singing, you might want to have a couple, like maybe choose out 3 spots in the back of the room and you can transition from those 3 spots. But unless you're very, very confident, don't ever look at the audience members. Let's see here. When you aren't in places that you can actually like vocally sing, I would recommend doing other things, like maybe putting in earbuds, listening to your song, like other artists performing it. Another thing that I like to do, especially if I'm having trouble with remembering the words, writing it down a whole bunch of times. I've also written lyrics out on my hand before the performance, so it's kind of like a safety net. Though I don't think I've ever actually used it, but it's kind of like a comfort thing. It's like, oh, well, if I forget it, it's there just in case. Let's see here. Oh, if you were once again at home trying to relax, or maybe you're still struggling to learn the lyrics, another thing you can do is take a shower or a bath. Sometimes when I'm memorizing lines for plays, I actually stick it in one of those plastic folders and put tape over the top so I can actually physically take it with me into the shower. And I always feel very relaxed in the shower, so then I feel like I'm learning the material better because my brain isn't stressed. They actually say when it comes to memorization, when you are full of anxiety, it actually causes you to not be able to intake that information as well. Let's see here. Oh, this was a huge thing for me when it came to auditions, is practicing with an accompanist beforehand. So what I've done is I've actually hired accompanists to work with me before my auditions. Now, that's not necessarily a resource that everyone has access to, but say you have the sheet music through Music Notes, there's actually a program attached with Music Notes that will actually play out the piano part for you, and I would highly recommend to use that and practice singing along with that. If you're really fidgety on stage or even in audition, I would suggest maybe having a little fidget toy for your hands that can help release anxiety. You don't want it to be seen, so maybe something small like a ring that you can twist around. I don't know. Let's see here. What else do I have? Oh, food. Things to avoid and things to eat that will help you. Avoid caffeine and alcohol. Alcohol is not something that's really relevant to you guys, but caffeine can actually increase anxiety. So I would say like maybe day of or day before, just try and cut it out. Eat dark chocolate. It actually is said to help with anxiety. The least amount of sugar possible will help the most, but some dark chocolates are kind of gross tasting without any sugar. Let's see here. Oh, eat a pickle or two. So there's actually been studies done that pickles help with social anxiety to ease that concern. It actually personally helps me a lot, so maybe eat a pickle before you go on stage or before you get to that venue. Another weird thing that actually helps me with my anxiety and depression is tomatoes. I think they did a study in Japan about that helping with depression. Now, that might not help you, but I figured it would be nice to let you know anyway. Let's see here. Another thing that would be good is if you're really nervous about the performance, maybe get an idea of what the venue looks like. Maybe see if you can go there beforehand, like 20 minutes prior, so you can kind of practice on the stage and get a feel for what that's going to be like. Take a nap, breathe, learn to laugh at yourself. Understand that it's okay to be upset if you mess up, but you're going to always make mistakes, and that's okay too. Let's see, exercise, good diet, learn to laugh at yourself. And this is something that helps me before performance or audition, is when you're in that audition room or on that stage, kind of take a moment to close your eyes, take a deep breath. Sometimes I like to look at the floor because there's no one on the floor, and just kind of mentally prep yourself, be like, I got this, or maybe get into character if you're auditioning for a musical, and then go forth and do your performance. Okay, I think that's about all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and love to help you guys. Hope you're staying safe and healthy.